I'm sure this is a question you've answered already, but I find it interesting as somebody who follows your score work in films. You've always been credited as Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. But now in this film, for the first time, I believe, you're credited as Nine Inch Nails. Can you speak about that decision, but also, do you see a difference between those two when you score as Trent and Atticus versus when you score as Nine Inch Nails?
Yeah, it's interesting. Try to make a short version of this answer. We became good friends with Tom McDougall at Disney when we worked on Soul with Pixar. And Tom became a friend through that process and lives down the street and came by a few years ago and said, just want to run an idea by you. Would you be open to working on a new Tron film? Immediately we said, yeah, for sure. The idea of Tron resonates with us and means something to us, you know. And then he said another idea. Would you be into the idea of it being called Nine Inch Nails as opposed to Trent and Atticus? And we hadn't really thought about that, but as we did start to think about it, there's one side of it that's practical from a marketing perspective. Seeing a logo can do a lot more heavy lifting than two names. But in an artistic way, what that seed planted was, you know, when we try to work on films, we attempt at the beginning of any project to disappear into the film, and our role is to help tell the story and hopefully help you feel a certain way when you watch a movie. And it's fun for us to kind of set up rules of what instruments we're going to use or what strategy we're going to deploy. And when thinking of it through the lens of calling it Nine Inch Nails, it set up a certain, right from the start, feeling that meant we weren't going to completely disappear and become, there would be a more limited set of choices of how we would approach it. And it also gave us some power when working with the creative team, director, producers, etc., of what it was going to sound like. We wanted it to sound less like a typical score and more like, and for one, I didn't think it should be orchestral at all. I thought it should be all electronic, and particularly with the plot of this film, let's lean into it sounding synthetic, heavily synthetic at times. So anyway, it really did change the way it ended up sounding and the way we approached it, of thinking it as an extension of the idea of Nine Inch Nails, if that makes sense.
That's interesting.